What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Pharaoh from Monte and the Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monte and the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh. Later.
All right, welcome to a special edition of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh. At the board, Jared, what were you doing today? You were in the studio early, my friend.
Yeah, I've been here for a while.
What were you doing?
Some filming.
Yeah. Filming what?
Rehearsal.
Rehearsal?
For Wonderama.
Oh, for the...
Wonderama?
Wonderama.
So we have a artist that performs in indie music. What's her name? Nicolette, right?
Nicolette Furno.
Nicolette Furno. Tommy, we're gonna...
And if she can sing as pretty as she is, she gonna shoot it through the roof.
Man, oh man. I gotta tell you, I don't usually get shaken by women, but I was sitting there talking to your promoter, and all of a sudden she came out, and I'm like, whoa.
Really?
Hello.
Really?
Yes.
So I made an old man have a heart attack.
I felt
she was
the
a
same.
pretty young gal, and from what I hear from Jared, she can sing very good too. She's got an appearance coming up here too, right?
Yeah, she does. I think she's playing in the city at Wonderama.
I wish I was going to be here. I'd sure go check it out.
But Tommy, when you were a younger age and the women would hit on you, did you ever run across like a really smoking woman and then you kind of like got tongue tied? Like I was sitting there like, hey, and I was giving a thumbs up, and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? I'm embarrassing myself in front of this 20-year-old. Did that ever happen? Or Tommy Rich had his shit together all the time?
Well, I can't say it really ever happened. Tommy Rich just tore up a lot and didn't really give a shit anyway. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, of course, back then I was 22, so talking to 20-year-old girls, it wasn't no hard deal. I mean, I'd probably have a heart attack now.
No, I hear you. But you never ran across someone so stunning that you just like were tongue tied and you're
I'm pretty dang stunning myself.
Well, you are. That's what you are.
Humble too.
Not really. I mean, I met some pretty ladies, and
Well, let me give you the reverse. You ever run into women and they were shaking like a leaf being around you, and you're like, whoa, this is some power right now.
No, because they knew what they wanted.
Oh.
They wanted Tommy. No.
There you go.
Hey, if ain't nobody going to pat me on the back, I'll do it myself.
Listen.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, I mean, back then, it was, when I first started the business, it was like families would come and then there'd be gals that come. It was in the late 70s. I started in 76, and the late 70s to the 90s, man, we was like rock and roll stars. We really were. Wrestling, and a rock and roll video, you had one type of people where wrestling, you'd see grandparents with their kids, and then you'd see their kids with them, so you had 3 generations, man, dressed up. Wrestling was like going to a movie, back then. Folks, it was something that folks really loved to go do.
I tell you, I wish I could have walked in Tommy Rich's shoes just for like 1 week.
I bet you, though, there was a period before you were a famous wrestler where there had to be a girl that broke your heart or messed up your mind before you became Wildfire.
You figure before, I mean, I started when I was 17, almost 8. I mean, right there, I'm 17 and a half, like kids say.
Right.
But, I was, shoot, I hadn't really been in no relationships.
Wow.
And then when you get into wrestling, I mean, it's, you're in this city. I mean, you meet a lot of ladies. And,
Sure.
Just a lot of great wrestling fans, too. I mean, it wasn't just the ladies. I mean, shit, little kids love Tommy Rich. I mean, I've seen grandmamas take a cane and hit Ole Anderson where he was beating the daylights out of him. So it was, I mean, we appealed to everybody.
You
kids,
sure did.
Mom, dads, and grandparents, too. I mean, they was there from 8 to 80.
You mentioned little kids, and I was thinking of, did you ever have like that Lou Gehrig or Babe Ruth moment where a kid in the hospital was sick and all they wanted to do was meet Tommy Rich? Did that ever happen throughout your career?
Yeah, I went to the Scottish Rite Hospital there in Atlanta and did a couple of things, and you don't know how blessed you are. I mean, the children, they're getting the best care they can, but they're in a bad place, and you see where you're at, and people look up to you and respect you, but you got to look at the moms and dads going through that stuff too. I mean, I can't imagine. I'm married 45 years, got 3 daughters and 10 grandkids, and you just can't imagine what some of them folks I don't have a clue. I mean, that's, somebody did something bad to your kid, you want to choke them to death or whatever, and that's just a helpless place. It ain't nothing you can do but pray to God, and the hospital just, you got to put it in their hands, man. It's tough. I can't even imagine. And I went a couple of times. That's one thing I wish I'd have done more of when I was in the spot I was in, was to go to them places and see the kids, and because we did a couple of them there in Atlanta, I did one in West Virginia, and a couple of other places, and just to see the kids light up getting an autographed picture, there ain't no money, ain't no nothing that can pay for that. And I was blessed with that, just blessed, to get in this business and make a moment to where, and back then I think it's more of a, I mean, I know kids enjoy wrestling now, but I think it's more of a 15 to 22, or, I mean, I think they draw more of that group. I mean, we draw families and just have the opportunity, and especially after having 10 grandkids and all of them being healthy, a lot of respect to, to the kids, the hospitals that do it, but the parents that have to deal with it and go through it every day, because I just can't imagine, so it was a great honor and just great respect to the not only the kids but the people that work at the hospital too. They go beyond the call of duty for them kids. So just the whole thing, it was, and that's one thing that, like I said, I wish if I'd ever done anything more, that's one thing I wish I'd done more of.
Well, I got to tell you, I don't know how many times you did it, but I'm sure that you changed these kids' lives, no matter what the outcome was. And again, as a wrestling fan, because that's what we all are, we know you kind of personally. You've been in a few times, but overall, you should be very proud of what you've done for this industry.
Well, I sure appreciate
kudos
that.
to you.
Absolutely.
I was talking to Ronnie Garvin today, which y'all got on here later, I think.
Ronnie.
Yeah.
But, and we was talking about that, just, and of course Ronnie started before I did, but just blessed to be in this business and wrestled in the era I wrestled in, and we've talked about it before. I don't even know if I could do the new age stuff. We was talking about ad-libbing and not talking before you went to the ring, and that seems kind of natural to where you sit in the back, go over all this stuff verbatim. That ain't natural.
Yeah.
So it's a different horse, and I'm glad I was on that horse in the 80s and 90s.
What a great horse it was to ride, too.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Certainly. We're going to hit some news items. Feel free to weigh in at any time. All right. Pharaoh, teen surfer attacked by a shark 60 feet off Kismet Beach on Fire Island.
Again.
We missed it.
We
The incident
weren't
followed
there.
by a series of attacks this month on Long Island beaches. CBS John Diaz spoke. Teen's father Thursday. Long Island teenager parents heard the previous shark attacks, like one at the beach, and couldn't believe this happened.
And we missed it. What
Well,
are we
I'll
doing?
tell you what, same thing in Myrtle Beach. You know, that's where I live now. And, you know, we're right there walking distance to the beach. And I guess it's about 3 or 4 weeks ago, a kid got bit by a shark. I mean,
You think that-
I'm a pool man myself. My wife, she likes to go lay out by the beach.
Yeah.
The
Safer.
sand gets on you. Got to worry about a shark. Let me lay out in the sun by the pool.
Yeah.
Tommy, don't like me and Pharaoh go to the beach together, right? And we were saying the other day how we so wanted to see someone get eaten by a shark.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't want to see someone die, but I kind of want.
It gets boring out there. We were staring at the water, going, "Wouldn't it just be awesome if I?"
Well, you ought to just watch me out there in a piece of seaweed rub on my leg. You think I was getting eaten by a shark.
So he's not running out there in case there's a shark attack.
So
You're staying on the beach.
you're not jet skiing at all, right? Because
No,
you're
jet skiing
not
fishing.
rafting out in the
I'm
water.
surfing, man. I surf.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Surf?
Yeah, the old big board. I can't do the little small one.
Tommy
So
Rich surfing.
how does Tommy Rich,
Cowabunga, baby.
coming from Georgia, learn how to become a surfer?
Yeah.
I started out one that you lay on your belly on.
Were you hanging out with Morocco? How'd you learn how to surf?
Don Morocco, man, a good friend of mine. I love Don.
Did I call it? He taught you how to surf? I mean,
Yeah.
Don Morocco taught Tommy Rich how to surf. There you
He
go.
might call you a storyteller.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
No, I didn't know. I just, we just used to go to the beach a lot.
Okay.
Well,
he's a beach bum. We know
and I
that.
ain't no talented surfer either.
Okay.
And, you
Okay.
know, but it's fun to get out there. I mean, ain't no waves really, do nothing. But it's nice just to get out there, and that's about the only time I'll get in the ocean.
You ever see Surfer Sting while you were out there? Was he surfing? Sting? I thought he's a surfer. He was Surfer Sting, wasn't he? His original gimmick
a
was...
legitimate question. You're
Right.
sitting on the beach in Morocco, right? Morocco made his mud up here in the Northeast. Obviously, you made yours in the South.
Right.
Does Morocco ever turn to you and be like, dude, you just don't know what you're missing in the Northeast? Like, what kind of conversation happened? You don't even talk about wrestling.
Oh Lord, Don. It was. See, I met Don through Roddy, and Roddy and me was real close, and Don and me was real close. I got some stories about Don, man. We was in Columbus, Ohio one night. Anyway, long story short, we was doing something we shouldn't do. I only knocked on the door. Don slung the door up and said, "You want to come in?" Oh, he said, "Well, get the fuck out of here." Slammed the door.
Really?
Yeah, Don was a man. I'm gonna tell you. I mean, he was, and always nice to me, Roddy. But and there again, just everybody. We was talking about it today, man. It just was a class of characters back then.
Let
And
me
I
ask-
hadn't even thought about Don and why. Mark Lewin, y'all know Mark?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, I seen him. Of course, it's been 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't know him that well, but God, he lost. I mean, he just looked so good. And but and we were talking today about world champions and stuff in the car with Ronnie, and it was just, it's so much that I don't realize that Ronnie knows it. He was telling me, man, it's just cool when you get together with some of your brothers, man, just to talk about the old days. It's really cool.
You mentioned Piper, right? We're huge Piper fans, of course, from here.
Who ain't? I mean, Roddy was the best of the best.
And you were close with him, right?
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you a question. This has always bothered me, right? I actually promoted Piper. I don't know years ago, but really great guy. There's an interview out there where he's speaking and he talks about when he's growing up in the business and he had some issues with Pat Patterson. I guess he had to do something that he didn't really want to do, but he did it for the betterment of his career. We were just talking about this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we were.
Did he ever share that story with you at all?
No.
How does it
I
make
didn't
you?
even know. I didn't.
How does it make you feel when you hear about it? I mean, obviously uncomfortable. I would assume to be.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's got to be like what?
I mean,
Why don't you tell us about how Roddy tried to get you into WWE?
well, he was in Atlanta and he went to New York and he called me and said, he had me a tryout. And at the time, that's when Crockett, I think Crockett had took over at WCW. And, but anyway, he had me a booking up there, but I don't know if you're familiar with Ray Gunkel and Ann Gunkel.
Okay. And you had
No,
had
Ann
you.
Gunkel, she was like the lady of Southern Wrestling or something.
Okay.
But anyway, they ran against. They opened a promotion before I got into Georgia. There was 2 wrestling promotions there. And Ray and Ann Gunkel had one, and Mr. Barnett had signed the deal with Ted Turner.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, that was before I got there. But they went under.
Right.
Ray and Ann Gunkel, of course.
Obviously.
Ted Turner and
Sure.
Georgia Championship come out on top. But anyway, after Crockett bought it, he wasn't a fan of me, and I guess I'm not a fan of his. But long story short, Ann Gunkel opened the promotion up and offered me a guarantee. And I just, Southern boy coming north. I was an old cornbread boy and had my young'uns and just didn't want to pack up and move everything, didn't want to go leave them. And she offered me a good deal. And shoot, I didn't work but 2 days a month. I worked about almost close to a year for her, on the guarantee. And it was all good. I mean, sometimes I look back and did I dumb myself? Probably, maybe. Because you don't know. I mean, it's like Japan. I made a few trips over there. The first time I went for 6 weeks, I was crying and wanted to come home. That's a long time. Because when I first went over there, I think all they had, and it was in Tokyo, was a Shakey's Pizza Parlor. And it wasn't no American pizza either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was a Japanese pizza, but it was Shakey's. But then when you went on the outside of town, man, it wasn't, and it was really, really, really good money. But first 2 weeks was good, and they don't bring about 4 Americans over there then. And I was one, I didn't know none of the other ones. So you're 6 weeks there. I mean, it's close as you'd be to being in jail. To me, it was. But anyway, the first 2 weeks was cool. 3rd week's a little harder. 4th week, you want to go home. Then by the 5th week, you're getting that big payday, so you're going downhill. But I called my wife a couple times crying like a big baby wanting to come home. And,
What did your wife say to you?
She said, stick it out. Of course, you had to
Suck it up.
Yes, suck it up, big boy.
They're paying you on the last day. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's more or less what it was.
There you go. Did Roddy
Yeah.
try? Did Roddy look?
Yeah.
Roddy got you a booking. Did you explain to Roddy like I feel I don't want to come up north?
Yeah,
Did he
me and
resist?
Roddy
Did he
talked.
try to talk you out of it? Like, come on,
No,
Tommy.
he respected. No,
He understood?
no, no. 'Cause
And that was
Roddy,
it?
He had gave me the opportunity.
Right.
Open that door, but he respected my. Yeah, no, me and Roddy was cool. I mean, he was just trying to give me a chance.
Right.
And whether I did or didn't dumb myself, it is what it is. And
Understood.
hey, I'm on y'all's show 40 years later, so I've done something.
Yeah, that's what I'm
There
saying.
you go.
It really doesn't make a
Absolutely.
difference. Everybody knows who Tommy Rich is, that's for sure.
No doubt.
Tommy, interesting on the news today. Bleaching hair causes brain damage. Dr. Martin Pratt and Dr. Benjamin Staines of the Center Institute of Studies, hair bleaching causes brain damage.
Come on now.
What do you think?
He's twitching. Tommy, you all right over there?
I
He's
don't know.
twitching.
And bleach is gone.
What do you
to my
mean?
head.
What do you mean your hair's not natural?
Yeah, well, do you see any?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. That's a natural blonde right there.
Hey, I did it for y'all's show, man. I wanted to look pretty on y'all's show. No,
Well, you did it. You
I
did
don't
it.
know
Well
about that. I mean, I know it makes you lose your hair if you watch a lot of these guys that wrestle that have blonde hair, but it ain't affected me too much. Mine's still long.
You know, I was thinking about what was the deal with that in the past days? Why did everybody feel like they had to be blonde? Like, was that mandatory? Like, everybody was blonde, right?
No, everybody wasn't blonde.
Did
Marty.
Did
I mean, that's
Superstar-
like me saying everybody was bald.
Did Superstar Graham
come
start
on,
that thing?
man.
though?
Come
Oh
on.
my Lord!
I don't know I know the reason I bleached my hair was because it was old sandy. It looked, even when you washed it, it looked greasy and dirty.
Dude, you had the best feathered hair. It was
Yeah.
always really feathered. I was like, man, that guy's got the best hair. It was so feathered, like, you know what I mean?
But he also had like the beetle cut somehow in the front. How did
Oh,
they?
yeah, I had the bangs.
How
did
the
they-
bangs?
Yeah, he had the beetle thing going on, but it wasn't the Beatles.
And it was like, I don't know, man. I get it.
He was the
I wish I had
quintessential.
hair like
He was
that.
the quintessential look for that time period, as far as the.
You know,
good
Tommy,
guys.
if you didn't know, to the right is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Farrow.
that?
Jimmy,
Over
along with
there?
his partner, Bart Griggs, make up the band Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life, and Not Far Behind.
Yeah.
You know what, Tommy? If you're interested in Wisteria Hall songs, you can go on to the Wisteria Hall YouTube page, or Spotify, or Apple Music.
Go
And
ahead.
if that's not good enough, Reverb Nation.
Give me the Nicolette promo. Come
Reverb
on, man. I'm
Nation.
hot.
And guess what? If you forgot what show you're on, you are on Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte Pharaoh. Catch Monte
They ain't
Pharaoh on
playing
Monte.
when they say number
here.
one.
Well, thank you, sir. Catch us on the Monte Pharaoh YouTube page, the Monte Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Anchor. Catch us on the Monte Pharaoh Twitch TV page. Catch us on Channel 15 every Tuesday at 9:30 and every Saturday at 11:30.
Yeah.
And Channel 20 every Tuesday at 1 a.m. where over 100,000 fans are watching us weekly. But, Tommy, I don't know if you knew this, our contract is up on August 10th.
Here we go.
And we are in deep negotiations.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as Freddie Miller would say it, y'all better stay tuned. Don't miss it and be here.
And with that, we'll be right back with probably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Mr. Tommy Rich.
See you in a wildfire second.
Wrestling fans, now you too can look as cool as Monte and the Pharaoh by wearing the official Monte and the Pharaoh sunglasses at night for $8.99 each. That's only $8.99 each. Now available at monteandthepharaoh.com.
Oh, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Jimmy, what's going on?
Yeah, nothing much.
You know, Jimmy, I love this country.
Oh.
I love to buy made in America material. And I love to buy my artwork at TAG, T-A-A-G, Made in America, 14 East Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11717. The shop at the corner.
Hi, it's John from Under the Table Hot Sauce. I'm here with my friend, the star of the show, Jimmy Farrow.
Yeah, what's up, JB?
Nah, nothing.
It's been a hot summer, and for all your barbecue needs, you can go to underthetablehotsauce.com. 13 unique flavors to choose from, created and bottled in a Long Island kitchen. Underthetablehotsauce.com. Let's go chow, JB.
Let's do it.
All the flavor, twice the burn.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monte Pharaoh, where we have the honor of having Mr. Tommy Rich in studio.
Hey, and you know the only thing better than Monte and Pharaoh is that good fucking wine.
There goes.
www. Oh, my wife says don't do that. GoodFuckingWines.com.
What?
Get a 2-pack bottle for only, I think, like $30. And it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Hey, y'all charged me 40, didn't you?
No.
Plus tax.
We wouldn't have dare
Hey,
charge
wait a minute, I need some change.
Plus tax. No receipt. Alrighty, let's do it. Tommy, I know we talked outside a little bit about this particular legend, but Ric Flair has decided to get back in the ring. Recently, he was saying that something is sore as shit, as he's confirming an injury. He's getting prepared to get in the ring at the age of 73. What's your take on all of this? Are you worried for him, or are you just like Rick is Rick? He's got to be Rick. What do you?
Well, I mean, you know, it's, I mean, you can't picture him as a lawyer or anything else. I mean, that's something he's done all his life. I mean, I can't picture me doing nothing else either. So it's in his blood, but it's hard with, I mean, him having a pacemaker, man. It's scary. It's scary. I mean, you know.
Do you think there's a part of Ric Flair that loves the industry that so much that if he passed away in the ring, and God forbid that would ever happen, he would be okay with it? Like, he's just like, whatever happens, happens?
I'll tell you what, I mean, Rick, I mean, whether you liked him or don't like him or whatever, I mean, he's devoted his life to this business. You know, I mean, like everybody else, he had his own extracurricular activities. But as a wrestler and a man of business, he always dressed the part, and he didn't like to go under 30 minutes either. I mean, he wanted to go out there. I mean, he was a wrestler. I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of respect for Ric Flair, you know. Good luck to him, and just hope nothing happens to it.
When you wrestled him, who called the matches? Did he take the lead
Rick
on calling
did,
the
yeah,
matches,
Rick.
and you were okay with that?
Oh yeah, he was. I mean, he was a technician in the ring. I mean, the only difference between like Harley, I think, was a general because he adapted to everybody's style. Where Rick, I think, more or less has his own style that you wrestle to. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's only but to walk the walk and talk the talk, as he says. I mean, he was one of the best at what he did. I mean, you never seen him underdressed. I mean, he always dressed sharp. You know, promos was good and could go in there and carry the load. So whether you liked him or didn't, I mean, he was a man's man in wrestling. I mean, I do say that.
So up here, when speaking to other wrestlers and things, the ones that wrestled in the WWE or WWF, they used to say, you know, look, you always wanted to get on Hogan's card, right? Because when Hogan, you knew no matter where you were on that card, you were getting a really good payday, right?
Yeah.
Was Flair that type of guy that, like, I've got to get on the card with Flair, or was it different in the NWA?
I think it was different for me, especially. I mean, I got paid. I mean, I wrestled in Georgia. It didn't matter. I got paid. Mr. Barnett, the owner of Georgia Championship Wrestling, he took care of all the guys. I mean, I mean, there might be a couple of bits about money, but never had a problem. You know, I worked for some other folks and on big shows, and made $150, and I could go work in Carrollton, Georgia, that hold maybe 600, 700, 800 people, and make the same amount of money. So, Mr. Barnett, but I'd go work for Bob Geigel, and if it wasn't a $40 payoff there, I could live with it because he was an honest man, you know. But Mr. Barnett, he, you know, you know, he was just always good to me, and I ain't really never heard nobody say nothing bad about him.
You know, you've been in here numerous times, and one thing I catch is you always call him Mr. Barnett. You don't call him Dick Barnett. You don't call him Barnett. You still have that utmost respect for him even now to this day?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, because he, I mean, Jerry Jarrett brought me into business, and I respect Jerry Jarrett, but Mr. Barnett gave me a lot of opportunity. You know, Ole Anderson didn't like me. He was the booker, didn't want me there because I wasn't Dr. Steve Williams or somebody, you know. He liked them wrestler type guys. I was a little 220-pound, 210-pound country boy, you know, that didn't work out a whole lot. I mean, you know, I had that athlete body, you know, but I wasn't pumped up. And but Mr. Barnett never gave up on me, and I went on to draw good money. But if it was up to some other folks, I wouldn't have been there with the opportunity. And that's why, because I have so much respect for them.
So you were amazingly popular, as everybody knows, right? And I'm sure within the industry, people get jealous. Did anyone challenge you, right? Because, you know, again, you just mentioned Steve Dr. Death Williams. Does anyone get pissed off like, man, this guy's getting all the, you know, getting all the cash, getting all the push. You know, I'm going to challenge him in the locker room.
Well, no, I never had no problem in the locker room. I mean, because it's like you said, if the world champion was on the card and it sold out, everybody made money. So we was all making money, you know. And everybody got an opportunity. If you could draw money, I mean, I wasn't always the main event in Georgia. You know, I mean, I'd have my run in a single and I'd drop off and they'd push somebody else up, and then I might come back with Wahoo McDaniels in the tag angle. You know, that's why my longevity was so good, because I'd do singles, and then in Georgia they'd bring guys in, especially when Ole was booking, because you had Ole and Gene, and you had Ole and Ivan. So they'd bring somebody from outside in, and I would team up with them because I was hot on it in Atlanta, and that would give me a break from singles. You know, I wouldn't have to be in singles all the time, and I would work an angle and do the tag thing. So I think that, excuse me, was a lot of my longevity there, you know. And once Ole seen me get over, then he didn't have no choice but to use me any way he could, because I was high. I mean, Terry Funk told me one time. He said him and Dory pulled up in this little town in Texas, and of course, 17 was all over the country. and they come running up. They knew who Terry and them was, and asked them, was Tommy Rich in the car? You know, Terry, and I just remember Terry Funk telling me that. And I got a lot of respect for that, because for Terry to just come out and tell me that, you know, I mean, it was, and I was probably over more than I realized. I was just a young kid living a dream, you know, I mean, it's hard to, I mean, and like we was talking about earlier, people, celebrities not want to sign autographs. Well, first of all, and it don't matter what kind of celebrity you are, whether you're a movie star or what, don't matter what you get paid, it's in people that buy the ticket is why you're there. So to be rude to somebody, and which back in our day, the bad guys, that was their job, and I understood it, and they did do that. But my job was to say hello and hug the babies and kiss the mamas, but I didn't have no problem with it, because I was blessed to be where I was at. You know, I might not have realized how over I was, but I realized how blessed I was to be in the position I was in.
Right.
Tommy, we talked about this outside for a little bit, and I just want to make sure that we do this on the air, because we were talking about how the face has changed in this business, and more importantly, and Mike, I think this is really interesting, I'm loving to share this with you, what has happened to sympathy in this business for a character, especially the good guy? The sympathy factor. You know, when Tommy, as an up-and-comer, was getting the tar kicked out of him by these evil, nefarious, it is good and evil, like we said, right. brother?
Yes,
You
sir.
know, what has happened to having sympathy? Now all we seem to have are anti-heroes. Is this due to Stone Cold? Can we have a true, you know, baby face, if I can, from those? Is the sympathy factor, Tommy, completely dead at this point for the traditional good guy?
There again, we go back to old school and new school, I guess, but we ad-libbed. So you didn't go out there and you ain't got time to think about sympathy if you're going out there wondering about 20 high spots, what you're going to do.
Right.
And I probably, and hats off to them guys, because I can't jump off. I couldn't or wouldn't have jumped. I'm that ground man. I'm that wrestler. And I couldn't jump off a building, and I couldn't remember 20 spots to go out there and do a whole match. I mean, you might have an open and a heat spot and a finish. But a lot of times back in the day, I mean, you was in separate dressing rooms. So you didn't even talk. You just know what the finish was.
Right.
You know, so the rest of it, you just went out there and ad-libbed. I mean, and Bullet Bob, I think I might have said this, but he called it vaudeville, Shakespeare, walking and talking. You know, and you can't walk and talk if you doesn't sit back here. I mean, I couldn't sell thinking about what if I'm gonna miss this spot. You know, so it's a different horse today. They don't take time to sell. So when somebody like you was talking about Cody Rhodes, you know, really getting hurt, I didn't see it, but I can believe what you was telling me, because
getting
people
injured during
still
the
want
match.
to believe.
Right.
You know, they still want to believe. I mean, we've got so far away that, it stinks, and it takes a real injury. But like you said, they bought what he was selling.
Absolutely.
It's a
You
great
know, they
question.
felt his pain.
Absolutely.
And
I mean, Mike fell in
that's-
love with Cody. I mean, Mike was resistant because of the AEW connection, but after the injury, you were telling me, like, holy shit, well, maybe not fell in love. I don't want to get that far.
Right.
But you were like, fuck, man, instant respect, right?
Understood.
Instant respect.
And that's, I mean, but people still, I mean, it don't matter how much they love you, they still don't want you to come out there and just kick the dog stink out of somebody and then beat them. I mean, they want to see you get beat up and then you beat back.
I'd like to see
know.
a face nowadays with the feel that the Tommy Rich had back in the day. I'd love to see that.
You don't see it.
No, you don't.
But nobody wants to sell. It's just all high spots, and that's what the people, you know. I mean, it's just a different horse for me today.
For sure.
Earlier, Pharaoh asked you about working with Flair, and I had a chance over the weekend. I wanted to go back a little bit and look at your matches, obviously, that you can catch with Flair and things like that. And I had forgotten that Nancy Benoit was, at some point when Flair was wrestling you, was Flair's manager. Can you share anything that, you know, maybe your relationship with Nancy Benoit, and then maybe discuss the time that when you found out that she was eventually murdered by Chris Benoit? I mean, do you want to share any thoughts on that?
that was just a gosh awful thing, man. She was a nice. I mean, she was a nice lady. I mean, and Chris even. I didn't know him that well. I don't know nothing about that situation. And
Well, how was Nancy as a person? Did you speak with her? Did
she
you have
was-
some sort of relationship? And how was she?
I knew. Yeah, I mean, she was married to Kevin for a while, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, she was just always. I mean, and I knew her when she was married to Kevin. Is actually when I knew her, and she was just always a nice lady.
What did you take from Chris, knowing Chris? What little you may know.
Most of my stuff with him was just he ain't nobody I socialized with or nothing, and I didn't meet him but a couple of times. But everything I heard about him was good things. I mean, so I don't know. It's just an awful situation, man. I mean,
What do you think of when there are apologists for Chris Benoit? We are not two of them sitting here. But, anything to CTE, strikes, blows to the head. There has been a lot of things that said, he had so many concussions. And is there anything to that coming from one of the all-time great wrestlers? What do you say about stuff like that?
I don't know if he'd been hit in the head no more than I have.
There you go. Okay. That's fair.
I can't see myself ever doing nothing
Right.
like that.
Right. Fair enough, man.
I mean,
Fair enough.
Here's something I didn't know about. You have issues with Jim Cornette. What is your relationship with Jim Cornette? This I had no clue. I had no clue.
This is news to me,
It's
bro.
news to me too. I was reading
But Jim
something
Cornette has
the other
issues
day.
with his tennis racket. But
Yeah.
we just. When I was wrestling in Smoky Mountain, I just told the truth statement, and he made a bunch of statements. I don't care. I told the truth. He gave me a bounce check, and I sold his belt, and that's the bottom line.
Nice.
So he
You
bounced a
Nice.
check and you had his belt and you sold it.
Sold his
What
belt.
was his belt worth?
And I sold it for exactly what he owed me. I called him and told him,
Okay.
and that's all it was.
And what did he say to you when you told him
great.
that? Which is great, great story, by the way.
He didn't send me my money for the belt, and I sold it.
There you
That's
go.
what I told him I was going to do.
It's not like you backed over it with a tractor trailer like Hanson with the AWA.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I'm assuming at some point, here you are, you're this famous wrestler, and then here comes this guy, right? As far as I know the story, if I'm wrong, he was a photographer, and then somehow.
Oh, I knew him. Yeah, I knew him when his mom worked at Louisville Gardens, and
And she used to pay people
Okay.
to put him on a show, right? Is that how it worked, or?
I think so. Now that I don't know. I just know he used to come and take pictures in Louisville Gardens, and that's where I first met him. And then, of course, he promoted Smoky Mountain. He bought the territory, whatever, and I worked for him, and I have no bitches at him. I don't hate him or nothing.
right.
Well,
Right.
let me
True
ask you
statement.
this. Here's this guy. His mom pays for him to get in. Now he's in the biz and he's working it. And the great Tommy Rich is here. Now you got to take orders from some fucking guy with a gimmick tennis racket. Is he truly this brilliant wrestling mind, or is he just the kid who mommy got him into the industry?
He's got a good gift for gab.
Yeah.
He's got a good gift for gab. And his mama did get him into business. I mean, I don't care if he's pissed off at me or not. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not trying to
when
get
I
you
worked
heat
in-
with him. All I'm
but when I
saying.
worked in Smoky Mountain, I mean, like I said, I never had no beef with him. The only time I had a beef is I made that statement I just made to y'all
Right,
about
right,
the bounce check, and then he goes on and says
But you're kind of
shit
circling the
about me.
wagons. The question really is, Tommy Rich, is he this brilliant wrestling mind, or
Do
is
you
it
think he's got
just
it?
fucking some loudmouth guy that got himself into business and now somehow has this fucking following? Excuse my language, sir.
Well, I mean, he ain't working for WWE, he ain't working for AEW or none of them, so. I mean, if he was that good, they'd be working there. I mean, I would think,
Well, Vince Russo worked there too.
so. Who?
Vince Russo? Do you know Vince Russo at all?
No, I don't think I know him.
Oh, okay.
I think he's fortunate to not know who Vince Russo is. Tommy, but just one more thing about Cornette, because he definitely comes off like he knows everything about everything. Was he always like this? Like, behind the scenes? You cannot.
Yeah, he was always cocky. Yeah, he was always cocky. I mean, even like,
right.
privilege, just that he could say what he wanted to say. Yeah, he's always done that.
Okay. Well, I like how you handled him. Well done, sir. Okay, let's move on to one of my personal favorites, who's a big secret as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how he got buried in the sands of time the way he has. Let's talk about Buzz Sawyer. who I know is a complete nut job, but can you tell us more about Buzz the person and include all the nut job stuff if necessary? Tell us about Buzz. I love Buzz Sawyer. Oh my God, Buzz Sawyer and put him with Tommy. You got complete loose cannon with Tommy. Fantastic.
I'm gonna give you one quick story, and then you can ask me another question. about
Okay.
it. Well, first off, I mean, he was a hell of an athlete.
Yes.
And only asked me, could I do an angle with him? I seen him killing guys on TV. I said, as long as he don't beat me up like that. And we went around the loop for 2 years, you know. Probably longest angle anybody's
2 years.
ever ran. Yeah.
2 years warring with this
it
guy.
started in Georgia, and then we carried it all up north. I mean, but 2 years we ran around. I worked with him every night. Yeah. But we was at the airport in Atlanta one time, and it was wintertime. He comes in flip-flops and little booty shorts
Flip-flops.
and tank top.
It's January. Okay.
He like, He said, here, hold this for me, Tommy. I said, fuck. Excuse me. I said, no, I ain't holding nothing. I said, better yet, you get away from me. Yeah, he thought he was going to get arrested for holding on to something, you know what I mean?
I got you.
Yeah. But he was quite the character, Buzz was. He was 24/7. What you seen on TV, he was that outside too.
Did you consider him your friend? You worked with him for 2 years. Were you guys friends?
Yeah, but we didn't go out and eat together. I mean, but
Interesting.
that was a time in the business where you did kayfabe. I mean, that's one thing I've always believed in. You know,
His habits keep you from him? Did his habits keep you from wanting to hang out with him during the 2-year program?
and
Here, hold
behind
this.
closed doors, we might have partied a little bit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
But we just didn't go out in public.
Right.
You know,
Gotcha.
I got along. I mean, and probably more people didn't like Buzz.
Right.
But the ones that did, you know, I mean, and I did. I like Buzz. I mean, we drove money together, and he didn't hurt me. Except a couple of times.
Did you ever bring your wife around the boys and with Buzz? Because here's a question: what kind of woman dates Buzz Sawyer? Like,
He had a beautiful wife, son.
did he really?
There you go.
Son.
Why am I not surprised?
And night and day difference from Buzz.
Yeah.
too.
He looked like a foot.
She was,
Sorry.
I don't know what her name was. I can't remember, but she was just, and our families. Now my wife and we were together a couple of times, but she was just a very night and day difference. You wouldn't. They say salt and pepper, you know, like you two. Y'all are two different worlds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
But sometimes that's what it. You know.
Yeah.
But she was a beautiful lady and a good-hearted lady too.
Nice.
And Buzz was good-hearted, but Buzz was Buzz.
So
Okay.
let me ask you. So
Okay.
you partied, right? And you've been with your wife for a very long time, true love. Does your wife say, "Hey, you got to stay away from the people, they party too hard," or did your wife party at that time with you?
She partied a little bit too.
Yeah, she did
so
party.
she
She went
rocks.
to the
That's cool.
Bahamas one time with us, and her and Ron Simmons was last two standing.
Really?
You know,
Oh my God!
Yeah. Yeah, I've been very. And when I first met her, she didn't even know who I was.
Wow.
So it
Okay.
wasn't nothing about wrestling. And 45 years later, we're still together.
Were you
So I'm
were you
very
surfing?
blessed.
Were you
And
surfing?
that's one thing. I'm going to Cauliflower Alley in September, and she's going, and I'll get to recognize her, you know, because if it wasn't for her,
Are you getting an award at Cauliflower Alley Club?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
yeah. So it's a big thing, man. It's full circle. And
Make sure to give you a nice dinner plate over there. Oh. Those cauliflower guys.
just to be recognized with that group of guys, I mean, some say, hey, what about this organization? You know,
You're one of the greatest of all time. You should
Yeah,
be
man.
very proud.
Yeah, man.
Look, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Yeah,
and
man.
you should be you should be honored about this. We're going to bring back a thing which we call Hit It or Quit It. Now, I understand that you're married 45 years. This
Oh.
has nothing to. We're just going to show you some pictures of individuals. It could be man, woman, or beast. And you're going to either say hit it or quit it, and maybe elaborate if possible. So we'll take a quick commercial break, pay the bills, and we'll be back with Tommy, Wildfire Rich, and Hit It or Quit It.
See you in a second.
Hey folks, this is Wolfie D here, and if you are looking to buy or sell a home in Tennessee or Southern Kentucky, you're going to want to call my buddy, the rock star realtor, Benji Bowie. And you say, Wolfie, how do I get in touch with this rock star? Well, you can call him directly at 615-390-8216. You can go to his website, bowiehomes.com. That's B-U-I-E homes.com. Or you can email him at benbuie34@gmail.com. benbuie34@gmail.com. When you need a home, you need the Rockstar Realtor. Tell him Wolfie sent you. Benji is a member of Exit Realty's Garden Gate team in Gallatin, Tennessee.
That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549-1544. That's 631-549-1544.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV, where we are honored, as always, to have one of the greatest pro wrestlers and pretty damn good human being, Mr. Tommy Rich in studio.
Hells yeah.
So we're bringing back an old favorite.
I can't believe it.
Hit it or quit it.
Yeah.
And, Tommy, we're just going to show you a picture,
Okay.
maybe tell a little story. If you didn't want to hit it, again, we understand you're married. This is purely in our minds. As an older gentleman, I like to think that I could have
It's a very older gentleman.
19-year-old
I'm not
rock star.
dead yet.
There you go. That's the spirit, Tommy.
There you go.
All right, what do we got?
First up, Terry Runnels.
Woo!
Terry Reynolds, she used to manage us.
You hitting that manager?
No, sir. No, sir.
He's passing.
That was the York Foundation. Is that Terry Reynolds?
So you're,
Terry
yeah, it
Runnels,
is.
yeah.
You're-
Hey, I
Are
didn't
you?
know
Why
personally.
would you pass on this beauty?
Professional
Terry Runnels?
respect?
Well, I was married then.
Well, no, you can't.
We're
This is
pretending.
Tommy
We're just
Rich
pretending.
wasn't married, single. Would you hit it?
And hide the replay from family members.
Yes.
I don't know. I heard a lot of people hit that anyway. So
Right,
I don't know.
right,
I
right.
don't know.
So out of safety concerns, perhaps not.
Or not to be.
Oh, that would be probably a hit it. I mean,
I got
go.
it.
But I
But,
never
is there
mind.
concern on comparability, meaning the fact, like, I'm not saying this happened, but say Ron Simmons hit it. Now, I'm not judging your length or
Damn.
girth, but I'm assuming Ron Simmons is fairly large below the waist. Do you really want to be compared to that if you hit a Terry Reynolds?
Wow,
Well,
this is a competitive business.
with you not having no hair on your head, and me being pretty well endowed, I mean, it might be a horse race.
Okay.
There we
All
go.
right.
There
All
we
right.
go.
All right.
I don't
Nice.
know.
Right, Leonard
All right.
Nutskin.
Next up, personal friend of Monte and the Pharaoh.
Oh, here we
Miss
go.
Mandy Rose.
Oh,
Thoughts on Miss Mandy Rose? Now, Mandy Rose, you may not know her. She works for the WWE.
Yes.
She's now the NXT Women's Champion.
Correct.
And in my opinion, probably one of the most beautiful women in the world.
I would hit that till I'm
Thoughts,
unconscious.
Tommy?
She probably make an old man like me have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Somebody put out the wildfire. What happened?
So that'd be hit it, I guess.
Is that a situation where
I'm sorry, baby.
if you're hitting it and you have, again, single Tommy Rich, not married, Mrs. Rich, please, this is only
Please.
in make-believe, so
Please.
please don't get offended.
Yeah.
Is that the way you'd like to go? You go to Heaven's Gates and go, Jesus, I just got to tell you.
Ay, caramba.
I hit Mandy Rose, it's all good.
I'd probably kiss her from her belly button inside.
Listen, I don't blame you, bro.
This may be our best
I
contestant.
guess
yet.
that's a hit it.
That's a hit.
Here we go.
Well, you know,
in my mind, you're 2 for 2.
Honestly, we're throwing
two.
you some,
My
we're
wife
throwing you
don't
some
see it.
softball. We're
Yeah, we're
throwing you some
taking it easy
softballs
here,
here right
you
now.
know? We didn't break
Next
out
up,
Brock,
who I think probably has the greatest ass
Oh.
in professional wrestling.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with.
Miss Sasha Banks.
But that's
Thoughts
not a picture
on
of her ass.
Sasha Banks.
My,
That'd be a hit it too. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not a lollipop.
sucker.
You know, I mean,
Is Sasha Banks the type of woman that if she had said, Tommy,
damn,
I would
y'all
really
need to
love
turn that air up.
Yeah, it's getting hot in
if she
here.
Last
said-
time there
if
was
she
no
said,
air here, and I
Tommy,
didn't
I
get
would
this
love
hot.
to make love to you.
Huh?
If Sasha Banks goes, Tommy,
Make love?
I would love to make love to you, but
No.
the one thing I need you to do is wear a woman's skirt and a black wig. Would you do that in
Why
order
is
to
it
have
so-
sex with Sasha Banks?
He's a performer, Tommy Rich.
He is a performer.
So would you gimmick out for her?
I'd put the skirt on, not the wig.
Not the wig. You
Wig
go
off.
halfway.
Wig
But
on,
skirt, you're
skirt,
good.
I definitely do.
I can be honest with you, Tommy. If she asked me to do
Tommy.
anything, I would do it. There wouldn't even be a question. But that's me.
Oh my God, Tommy in a hula skirt?
All right, this one you're
What's
probably
going
not
on
going to
here?
appreciate, but we have to throw it in. It's purely because we love you. Miss Missy Hyatt. Thoughts on Missy Hyatt, sir?
Miss it.
You quitting it?
Quitting it. Yeah,
You quitting it?
yeah, quitting
Done.
it.
Well, that's good because
Is this
I'll fill that
is this
back.
older Missy Hyatt? I don't know what picture you guys have up there. So is it
It's a
young Missy
nice
Hyatt?
one. It's a young one.
It's a
well,
young Missy
no,
Hyatt.
no. It's a little later on. It's a little later on. She's aged lovely.
So far we've got Terry
Lovely.
Reynolds. I'm going to say he said quit it.
right,
Right.
for professional reasons.
Mandy
Yes.
Rose. He said
Right. Yes.
I'm going to die if I go,
Yeah,
even go
yes.
near
He's
it.
afraid of getting the
Right.
medical treatment
got-
afterwards. Yes.
Excuse me. We got
You're
two.
you're two out of four. There's nothing wrong
We
with
got
that.
2 out of 4.
That's good
very-
stuff.
That's
And
quite
you know
reasonable.
what? Honestly, there's not one
Who
woman.
is this one?
This is Charlotte Flair. This is your friend
This
Ric
is Ric
Flair's
Flair.
daughter.
Okay,
Thoughts on
Tom.
would you hit it? And the question is, again, it's your friend Rick's daughter.
Yeah,
it's
come
kind
on,
of
no.
weird. What are you
Yeah.
thinking?
Well, see, that's y'all put me in a hard spot because all of them's like
Hard
younger
spot?
than my daughter.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
So I'm being a pervert saying, "Oh yeah, let me hit that." Yeah.
Well, I'll say it. I'd hit it.
Yeah. There you go.
Just saying. You
See,
know.
hey, but I did meet her at one of the events.
Yeah.
And she was very nice and very respectful. I will say that.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
very nice lady.
Doesn't she look a little too much like Rick, though? Wouldn't you have an issue? Like, shit, that's Rick.
Yeah, but what if you laying with her and all of a sudden she's like, woo!
That would be acquitted.
That would be a...
You're like, you know what? I'm
knock it
done.
off.
Forget it. I'm out of here.
I'm out of
great.
here.
Oh, let's envision this
Wow.
one. You're like, I'm gonna hit it, and she's in the bathroom. She's getting ready. She's gonna have
Getting
fun
ready?
with the wildfire.
Okay.
And then she comes out with a Ric Flair robe on. She's like, woo! You're like,
That's not happening.
I'm done.
I'd have to bend over.
Oh, my God.
I'm just teasing.
Put me in a figure 4 now. Yipe.
All
Who's
right.
next?
Dick Barnett.
You mean Jim?
Jim Barnett.
Jim Barnett. What is he?
Keep saying the
Dick
guy
Barnett.
from the 70s Knicks. Fall back.
You did it. You did that.
I didn't do that. You're
Jim
tricky
Barnett.
Jim Barnett.
Seriously.
Barnett.
He's not hitting Jim Barnett. What is wrong with you? Tommy,
Miss
ask him what's wrong
Barnett,
with him.
Miss Barnett was always good to me.
Right?
A lot of respect.
Not hitting
He
him
was in the
gratitude, are you?
NWA. I mean, he held that together. You know, I mean, he was, like I said, I mean, folks say what they want about him, too. It
Right.
never bothered me. Always paid me my money.
He was best to you.
And
He
always
treated you
made
best.
sure I was taken care of. So,
I've only heard good things about him.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, he was a gentleman's gentleman to me.
All right, you're almost done, Tommy. Hang in there. Becky Lynch. Now, Becky Lynch wrestles for the WWE. She's
Big
one of the
star.
more popular stars.
Oh, she's
very, very big,
big
star.
star,
And I think
yes.
she's from Ireland, right?
From Ireland, yes.
Born and raised in Ireland, sir. Becky Lynch.
I'd like to do an autograph session with her.
That would be cool.
What would that be? What would that be like?
That would be pretty
Well,
wild.
I'd probably sell a lot of pictures.
There you go. There you go. Cha-ching.
What do you mean? It's like you're with her and like everybody's
Yeah,
going to Becky and
yeah,
you're like,
give
okay,
me
I'll get
that,
one from you
yeah.
too, Tommy.
She's hot looking too. I mean,
There you go.
you know.
There
She
you go.
is. She is. Okay.
Yeah, okay, so we're good with that one.
The last one.
What on earth is wrong with you?
Paul Heyman.
He's not hitting Paul.
Oh, hey,
How you doing there, Wildfire?
Now you can hit him with your fist if you like, Tommy. That's
Yeah.
two. That's okay. That's-
hey, but there again, I mean,
He took care of you, though, didn't he? Paul?
he managed when he first got into business. He managed me and Austin Idol, and give me an opportunity to come up to ECW. Paul was always good to me.
Took care of you. Good.
And like I said, my only dealings with him was in USWA, and then when I come to ECW, and Tommy Dreamer, hats off to him because I think it was a lot of his idea to bring me up there. And then when I first went, you know, they didn't know what to do with me. They put this FBI thing together, and and they asked me, you know, hey, would you mind managing? I said, shoot. Does it pay the same? And so anyway, yeah, I didn't mind. I love that as much as I loved anything I ever did in the business because it was just such a good gimmick. I mean, all of you Yanks up here, when I did this, y'all got mad.
Great.
Yeah, that pissed me off. That made me angry.
Why?
Because he was a Southerner acting like an
Southern,
Italian.
That's the best part of it. That's
but
what made the whole thing work.
Boy,
I
did
love
the BCW arenas, though,
full-blooded
son, I'll
Irishman.
tell you.
You know what's funny? You mentioned the name that doesn't get mentioned a lot, Austin Idol.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
How come Austin Idol did not reach the heights that
He
I
could've.
personally thought that he
could've.
could have?
What happened there?
I don't know. He was in Georgia, and we did an angle that drawed good. I think he just got tired of the business, and I think he just retired. You know, I mean,
He wasn't into traveling either, or
he just. I mean, when he left Georgia, I think he had a water purifying thing when, like back in the day. I'm talking, you know, this late '70s or early '80s. And that water purifying thing, he did a thing with that. I think it made some money, and he just, like you said, disappeared.
Well, with that,
He was, and I never knew him as Mike McCord. I seen pictures of him after, you know, I never even knew that's who that was.
Right.
Till I seen he told me the story, you know, and you know, he went through a lot. I mean, but he was like, when he was Mike McCord, he was like 300 pound or something, and then come back, you know, after that. I mean, you gotta, you know, that's another one. I mean, and he did. He drawed money, but he just, like you said, he disappeared.
he just
disappeared.
walked away.
with
He
that
rode off into the
and
sunset.
and that's what we're going to
And
do
never
right
looked
now.
back.
Tommy,
Never
tell
looked
the
back.
fans where you're going to be tomorrow. Do you know the event is in Allentown, right? Not
No,
Allentown.
we're gonna be in Hamburg tomorrow.
Hamburg. Thank you.
Hamburg, and then Sunday we're gonna be
Wrestling Universe in Comac, Long Island. So Tommy's
Comac.
going up to Pennsylvania and coming on back right into our general area. So great opportunity to meet Tommy Rich in person in Pennsylvania. Get up there, go see him, get to meet this icon and this one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And if you're lucky enough to live in New York or close to Long Island, you'll get to see Tommy Rich and Tony Atlas at Wrestling University.
Tony.
Seeing Tony Atlas and Tommy Rich together is a big deal. Again, thank you, Tommy. You are a gentleman.
brother. Tell your friends about this show, because, hey, I'm going to tell you what, it's one of the best shows. I love you guys, man. Thank y'all for having me. Hey, and as Freddie Miller would say, y'all better not miss it. You better be there or here, because this is the show.
We love you, Tommy Rich.
Thank you,
Pharaoh,
Tommy.
send us
Y'all,
out.
man.
Thanks, Tommy.
And don't forget Ronnie Garvin in about 5 minutes.
Yep, you've been
Hands
watching.
of stone, baby.
You've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh, and see you in 5 minutes or so. Later. Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you.